Hello, story explorers, and welcome. I am so excited to share this story with you today. It's got magic, a big mystery, and you won't believe this, a very, very strong baby. You ready? Let's jump right in.
Okay, so picture this, a tiny little baby. Now picture two huge, giant trees. How in the world could a baby pull down those trees? It sounds totally impossible, right? Well, that's the big mystery we're going to solve together.
The answer isn't just about how strong the baby is, it's actually a secret. A secret that's been waiting for a very, very long time, hidden deep inside those two trees.
To find that secret, we're going to have to go back in time, way back, before the baby was even born. And we're going to meet two brothers who are having the wildest party you can ever imagine.
So, meet Nala Kuvera and Manigriva. Their dad was super important, so they had everything. I mean, they were rich, they were handsome, they had tons of friends, but all that good stuff came with one really big problem. They were very, very proud. And that brings us to our first Sanskrit magic word for today. It's mada. See, mada is that feeling you get when you're so proud of yourself that you kind of forget your manners. You forget to be kind. And these brothers, they had a serious case of mada.
All that pride made them pretty thoughtless. They were partying in this beautiful garden, having so much fun that they were just totally wrapped up in themselves. They didn't care who they were bothering. They were being super loud and, well, kind of rude. But their big party was about to get interrupted. A wise man, a sage named Narada, happened to be walking by. And his arrival, it was going to change absolutely everything for them. Now, when Narada saw the brothers acting so silly, he wasn't mad. He was super wise, and he could see that all their pride was taking them down a really unhappy road. He knew they needed some help. So Narada came up with a plan. It wasn't really a punishment, It was more like a lesson. He decided to give them a kind of magical time out by turning them into trees. As trees, they would have no choice but to learn how to be still and patient and humble. And he gave them a promise that one day someone very special would come and set them free.
So he told them, because you're so wild with pride, you're going to become still, just like trees. But even as he did that, he gave them this wonderful promise, this little bit of hope for the future.
Okay, let's fast forward 100 years. The two proud brothers were now two giant trees, just waiting and waiting. And that special person from Narada's promise? Well, he was finally ready to show up. And that special person was baby Krishna. Yep. And he knew all about the brothers. He knew about the sage's lesson, and he knew the secret hidden inside the trees. He decided that today was the day. It was time to set them free. Now, Krishna was a really playful baby, a little mischievous, so to keep him from getting into too much trouble, his mother tied him to this big, heavy wooden grinding mortar. But little did she know, this was all part of his amazing secret plan.
So dragging this heavy thing behind him, Krishna started crawling. And he wasn't just crawling anywhere. He crawled with a mission. He went straight for those two giant trees and went right into the tiny space between them.
He squeezed his little body through, but the big wooden mortar he was dragging? Nope, it couldn't fit. It got stuck. It was wedged sideways between the two trees. He was trapped. Or was he? So here's this tiny baby, tied to this giant thing that's totally stuck. He takes a big breath, he leans forward, and, with all of his incredible, amazing secret strength, he gives a mighty pull. Crack! Boom! With a sound that shook the whole village, the two giant trees were pulled right out of the ground. It was impossible, but it happened. The mystery was solved, but the real magic was just about to begin.
Because remember, the important part wasn't just that the trees fell down. It was about the secret that was hidden inside of them. As all the dust started to settle, something incredible happened.
From out of the splintered wood, two shining people stepped out. It was Nala Kuvera and Manigriva. But they were totally different now. Their pride, their mata, it was all gone. And instead, they just looked full of wonder and thankfulness.
This moment brings us our second Sanskrit magic word. It's namah. And namah is so much more than just saying thanks. It's a deep, respectful thank you that you show by bowing your head. And that's exactly what the brothers felt in their hearts.
They bowed down to baby Krishna and said this beautiful prayer. Instead of being selfish and proud, all they wanted now was to help and listen and show respect. They had finally learned their lesson.
So, as you can see, this is way more than just a story about a strong baby, isn't it? There's a real treasure hidden in this story for every single one of us. Let's figure out what it is.
Here it is. This is the big idea. The brothers thought that treasure was all about money and being popular. But it was only when they lost everything that they found the real treasure, being humble and kind and grateful.
And that leaves us with a question to think about. The brothers learned how to be humble and helpful. So, what's one small, humble thing you can do for somebody today? Just remember, the greatest treasures aren't the things we have, but the kindness we share. Thanks for joining me for this amazing story.